Hey, core reporters. So, do you remember how, and I just posted a video about this a couple of moments ago, Catelynn Lowell took to her Instagram account to expose Teresa for ignoring text messages and updates that she was sending her to pass along to she and Tyler's biological daughter, Carly? Well, Caitlyn's husband, Tyler, has since stepped in and decided to share his own 2 cents about the entire ordeal on his Instagram page. And I want to go over it with you. Listen, I skimmed it a little bit. I haven't full-blown read it. I'm going to be reading it for the first time alongside you. Now, here's what he had to say. I respect everyone's opinions on this sensitive and very personal subject. However, I don't agree with the fact that some say we learned how to manipulate situations to be a victim and get sympathy. I require no sympathy and don't ever expect it. I made a decision as a child that will inevitably affect me as an adult and the children I'm raising for the rest of our lives. I deserve all the criticism and judgments that may come out of that decision. Honestly, I got to be honest with you guys. That phrase broke my heart, and I'm going to repeat it for you guys because this is major. This is a decision to put his daughter up for adoption that he made as a child, right? And it's going to forever impact him for the rest of his life, forever impact his wife for the rest of her life, forever impact the other children that they have together for the rest of their lives too. A decision that they made as children. And when they were children, they were promised an open adoption. They were sold certain dreams, right? Because again, they live within a system where instead of providing resources for parents to be able to raise their own children and to be there for their own children, they force these parents essentially, right, to give up these children to other people to raise for them, people who are in a better place in their lives. And again, is that a fair system? In certain respects, yes. If a parent is not, mentally this, that, or the other, and they don't want to, sure. But when you are, in a place where all you need is some financial support and stability to raise your own child, and you've got the desire to raise your own child, I do not think it's fair. So, again, it just breaks my heart that, the system was set up that way, and that, they are casualties of it, that Carly is a casualty of it, and that in some respects, Brennan and Teresa are casualties of it as well, right? What else does it say? I don't want any coddling, nor do I believe I deserve it whatsoever. All I want is the truth to be told and the facts to be known, so that one day, when or if Carly decides to seek answers, she will have that information and not just the biased, modified / customized information that may come from her parents. Oh! Not Tyler shaking the table there, talking about Brandon and Teresa giving biased, modified, or customized information. There is a lot of unexplained truths behind closed doors regarding Teresa and Brandon's decisions about us having a relationship with Carly, especially when it comes to MTV, the publicity of our story, their compensation for it, etc. And since they have chosen to finally cut us off, which I believe they have every right to do so, wow. So is he kind of implying that they want to be paid for Catelynn and Tyler, like talking about them on the show, or potentially like having Carly on the show? Is that what's going on here? Because here's the thing. I feel like if that is the thing for Brandon and Teresa, that they want money, at the end of the day, MTV's got the money to give to them. And this is a very interesting story for MTV. They've already been on the show, and I think a lot of fans would like to see them back to watch how this, open, or supposedly what it was supposed to be, right? Open adoption plays out. That's not something that's between them, Catelynn and Tyler. In my opinion, that's something between them and MTV. And I think that if that really is their motivation, right? Because I don't know that it is. If that really was their motivation, I feel like they would be able to go to MTV rather than some contracted talent for the show, right? What else did Tyler say? We have no way of getting this information to Carly when / if she seeks it out. So that's why we will continue to use her platform as a way to get it to her in case it's needed, regardless of anyone's opinions about it. The recent messages that Kate has posted are only the last few months worth. Once we realized they were refusing to answer us and refusing to talk about why they're upset, it's hard to fix, mend, or apologize if you refuse to communicate your issues with the other person. Is he lying? N'est-ce pas? Is he lying? Tell me if he's lying in the comment section, because I think he's got a point. Like, are they just like stonewalling the Catelynn and Tyler? Because if so, I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that's a very it's a very nice way to handle this thing. It's hard to fix. Yep. We have been advised multiple times for years from people to send frequent updates and as often as possible, ranging from adoption specialists, adoptive parents, adoptees, birth parents, who all have more experience than us. So that's what we've been doing. So it's ironic to me that people get upset thinking we don't send enough updates, but yet then get upset thinking that we are now sending too many updates, right? Not that any of these opinions matter in the long run, but the hypocrisy of that is very interesting, and I think he's right. Sometimes you can't win for losing, right? To say the least. The decision to finally share the whole truth about our situation didn't come easy, because it seems that whenever we decide to share our feelings about our adoption experience from a birth parent perspective, it's equated to, quote, bashing Carly's parents somehow, which we've noticed seems to be a very common reaction from people regarding birth parents sharing their adoption experience. Even though we have never called them names or attacked them by doing so, we've spent many years researching the effects that adoption has on adoptees, Carly in this case, and we've come to understand just how important and vital it is for the adoptee to have access to their birth parents and what it does for their self-worth and identity as they develop. We've tried sharing this information with Carly's parents to no avail. Okay, so that's really interesting to me, that their relationship would be to a point where they have to do all this research online about how adoptees, want, need, crave, yearn, whatever connection with their birth parents, and like send it to Brandon and Teresa in order to kind of try to encourage them to continue working and fostering that relationship with Catelynn and Tyler. What really happened that pushed these people from appearing on the show, appearing on magazine covers, showing up at Catelynn and Tyler's wedding, allowing Tyler to have a first dance with his daughter and everything like that? Like, what happened? I feel like that's like, Catelynn shared a lot of things about the aftermath, Tyler sharing about the aftermath, but no one is telling us what happened. Is it that thing from seasons ago where Kate and Ty said that Brandon and Teresa did not want Carly mentioned on the show, but then they continued to talk about her on the show? Like, is that what it is? I'm really, really wondering here. Which is saddening, of course, but mostly heartbreaking for Carly's sake in the end of it. I completely understand that some people believe we are the bad ones or we're in the wrong. And yes, we have made many mistakes ourselves while navigating this journey from children into adulthood. But to be honest, none of that matters in the grand scale of it all, because we're all bound to make mistakes at some point as we grow up. But to us, this isn't about right and wrong or good versus bad, because it's actually quite typical for the birth parents to be expected to remain silent, to be ridiculed and judged for having any sort of emotions or reactions to their feelings regarding their own adoption experience. So we're very used to this by now. But for us, this is all about truth. This is about believing that Carly deserves that truth, that she deserves the dignity to make decisions based on all the facts, that she deserves to have uninfluenced control over her desire or lack thereof to be in our lives and have communication with us and her siblings. So regardless of your opinions and viewpoints about this, we will continue to share our truth. Okay, so let's get into that again. Let's digest that a little bit more before we move on to the last point he wanted to make, right? It is true. It's not about good versus evil, this or that. You don't have to pick a side. I think objectively we can look at this as a very, very sad situation, right? I think to me, this is a situation of a system that exploits people who are put in a bad position, right? In order to provide children to others who are in a bad position as well, right? And it's just very, very sad to watch play out. Like, this is a heartbreaking photo to see, and again, especially looking at these bracelets that were supposed to, outside of the daughter binding them all for life, the bracelets were supposed to be a symbol of like, we've got this like connection. We're both sides. We're going to do our best to make it. to make sure that this girl is okay, that she sees all sides of her life and herself. She's got her biological family here, she's got her adoptive family there. Like, I really thought this was going to be a beautiful, beautiful story, and to see it come to this point is really, really sad. It's really, really devastating. I do think at the end of the day that Catelynn and Tyler are good people, and I think that Brandon and Teresa are also good people. But the situation itself is very, very ugly and very, very sad. And again, I feel like despite all of these, declarations and whatnot from Catelynn and Tyler, I feel like I still do not understand why or how things got to be this bad, and I can't really say much about where things have arrived without knowing what caused them to get to this point, right? Very, very sad. Again, I wish they would just open up about what really happened to push things to this point. I don't think that this is happening for no reason. Do I think it's merited or anything like that? I don't know. I don't think so, most likely, but it's sad. What else? So that way, when Carly decides to be in our lives or not be in our lives, we'll at least have peace, knowing she will have made that decision on her own with all the facts pertaining to her very unique adoption situation. So if I am to read between the lines of what it is that Tyler is saying, it sounds to me like all of a sudden Brandon and Teresa decided that they wanted to just hide Catelynn and Tyler from Carly. Maybe there's like a certain sense of, I don't know, maybe because Carly's in school and people watch the show and they know about this or something like that. Maybe she's like known amongst her classmates or something like that. Maybe she wants to be part of the show and she's like, oh, like I would want to be on the show, this, that, or the other. And so in order to discourage that, they are discouraging a relationship between her, Catelynn, and Tyler. Maybe Carly decided that she wanted a little bit more space. She didn't like being mentioned on the show, and that's why they're deciding to pull back. Like, it really could be anything at this point. But I do understand Catelynn and Tyler saying, listen, maybe this is not the greatest way to go about it, but our biggest priority above what other people on the internet think about us is knowing that our daughter can look and know for sure she'll never have to wonder, like, was she wanted by us? Was she loved by us or anything like that? Like, this is them showing her that she was wanted and she was loved in the best way that they know how. Because again, remember, they were children when they made this permanent life-altering decision, right? There were a lot of adults around them. First of all, their parents who failed them in every way, shape, and form, to the point where they couldn't even, raise this child as teen parents. The other teen parents on the show were able to because their parents helped step up for them, very oftentimes, or parents of their significant others. But in Catelynn and Tyler's case, there were no parents to lean on, right? But there were adults ready, to swoop in and to adopt their child. And that was the best choice that they could have made at that time, But unfortunately, now looking at where they're at in their life, they never in a million years would have imagined not living in poverty. And now they're not only not living in poverty, but they are like pretty much rich, right? So it's a lot. It's a lot. So you can believe what you want. You can continue to have your confirmation bias about us and our decisions, and we will continue to share our story for you to have more opinions on in the future, as I'm sure there will be plenty more that come as we lay everything out on the table. And so listen, if you're going to lay everything out on the table, Tyler, I really hope you go ahead, if you're able to, and just tell us what happened. We've only seen inklings of what could have possibly happened, but none of this is describing what actually happened, what closed the door. Because I'm getting the feeling, reading in between the lines of what you're saying, that you're trying to say that like Brandon and Teresa just suddenly, maybe they felt threatened by you guys or the show or something like that. Like, that's what it feels like you were saying. I don't know. It feels like you're trying to say something without saying it. Since we hold no shame, no internal struggle or fear about the decisions we've made, we have peace and the freedom that's accompanied with it. And with that peace and freedom, we have nothing to hide, and we've always been comfortable sharing our uncomfortable truths. Our transparency is our ally, and we refuse to believe anything different. So that's what we will continue to do, to follow our soul's intuition and be transparent for everyone involved. Oh, God, my heart is broken for them. It really, really is. You can just tell that they are just devastated by what has happened here. I do have another question. Is it the OnlyFans thing? Is that what it is? They want, maybe the stuff that Kate and Ty are posting online on their adult website or whatever is causing issues for Brandon and Teresa. Maybe Carly is aware of that. Maybe Carly's friends are aware of that. I don't know. It really could be anything. But honestly, I wish them all luck in this. I wish Catelynn luck. I wish Tyler luck. I wish Brandon luck. I wish Teresa luck. And I wish Carly luck, because this is a very, very painful situation for all of them to be going through. You know, I don't think anyone comes out of this unscathed. What do you guys think about this? Did Tyler's statement help clear anything up or change your outlook on things? Let me know why or why not in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.